Take another breath. Our theme this month is wholeness. And my topic today is choosing truth beyond our sides. It might even be choosing truth beyond my side, even more specifically. So that topic stems from one of the things I learned from my mentor, the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, was that there are at least two sides to every story, and then there's truth. You know, every now and then there will be a concept that's so revolutionary of a shift, of a change of paradigm, that it completely is like I call like rearranges my molecules. And that's one of them. That there are at least two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. That no side has the truth. And furthermore, the more you dig into a particular side, the further away you're going to get from the truth. Amen. That's extraordinary when you think about it. Because we're so busy trying to push our way. We're so often trying to push our view. Even in conflict resolution, which is something I've had a profession in for, decades, that it doesn't matter whether it's individual counseling or whether it's some big movement thing that's going on and, they've got to have facilitators and all the rest of that. It really doesn't matter that always at the root of every single issue, every single problem that comes out of human consciousness is a sense of separation. It's just a sense because it's not real. But all of the problems that we see that are man-made, whether it's on the material plane, the physical plane, the spiritual plane, it comes from a deep sense of separation. Separation from our good, separation from security, from our health, from our wealth, from each other, from God, from our own self. And when we think we're separate, we are busy trying to get that solved outside. That's why our theme this month is wholeness. Is wholeness. Because the remedy to separation is wholeness. There's nothing missing. There is absolutely nothing that's extra. At the core of your being, you're whole. Just breathe that in for a second. We are whole and complete. There's nothing missing. And there's nothing extra. There's nothing missing and there's nothing extra. There's nothing we have to chase after and there's nothing we have to lop off. Even the things that we think that we're quote unquote trying to get rid of, we're not really trying to get rid of them. We're trying to heal them and bring them back into the fold. Those hurt places within us that become our shadow places, where we're working stuff out or getting into addictive behavior or destructive stuff or dysfunctional stuff or whatever, it's just a part of us that feels separate. It's a part of us that's not feeling whole. It's a part of us that's feeling hurt and desperate or whatever, and it's doing whatever its desperate thing is that it thinks it needs to do to try to feel whole. But the wholeness doesn't come from when this other thing changes out here. The wholeness doesn't come when I get stuff, when I add stuff on. The wholeness doesn't come when I chop stuff off. I don't care what it is. It could be alcoholism. You may say, well, You need to stop drinking. But the alcohol isn't your problem. The alcohol is evidence of the problem. The alcohol isn't the problem. The alcohol is masking the problem. You won't even be able to figure out what the problem is until you stop drinking, until you stop anesthetizing. And then underneath that, what you're going to figure out is that you have some false beliefs about yourself, about not being whole, some false beliefs about being damaged, some false beliefs about not enough, some false beliefs about everything that's happened. And I'm not saying, when I say false belief, I'm not saying that the circumstances didn't happen. The false belief is when we define ourselves by the circumstances. The false belief is that the circumstances are so big and so great that I can't be whole. That they are so big, that they are so deep, that I'm damaged goods. That's a false narrative. That any kind of recovery program, any kind of therapy, whatever, is taking us beneath all of that. I don't care if you've been a refugee, you've been through war, you've been through abuse, you've been incarcerated, you've been sick. I don't care what it is. Those states of being, those states of existing in conditions can blind us to the wholeness. Those states of conditions can convince us that we're not good enough, can convince us that we are not enough. And then we make a God out of the dysfunctional stuff. We make a God out of the oppressor. We make a God out of the isms. We make a God out of the abusers. Because anything that you make more powerful than you make a God out of it. Don't make a God out of money. Don't make a God out of your spouse, your children. Don't make a God out of your illnesses. Anything that you let define you becomes your God. Don't let the government define you. Don't let the media define you. Anything that you allow to tell you how much you can be or can't be is your God. I love it in Scripture when it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The King James Version says, "For I am a jealous God." That's not really a good word there. It's not to say that God is envious of anything. A more literal definition would be, I am without rival. Not that I'm jealous, but that there's nothing that can compare. There's nothing that can compare. There are no substitutes for the one source. There's no substitute for that energetic field that makes us whole. But you're already whole. That's the part that we don't get. We keep thinking that we got to do something. The wholeness doesn't have to be created, it has to be revealed. It doesn't have to be discovered, it has to be revealed. Because even when you think you have discovered it, there's that, it was with me all the time. Listen, it was with me all the time. See, I can't teach you anything. The only thing I can do is stimulate something within you that remembers. When you really hit upon the truth, and particularly spiritual truths, it doesn't feel like an add-on. It doesn't feel like something way out there that I finally got and now I have it here. When you really hit upon truth and spiritual truth, it hits a chord inside. Even if you don't like what it says. Haven't you been praying for the answer to something? And it's like, not that answer. Don't you have another answer? And as much as you fight it and fight it and fight it, in here you know, doggone it, that's the answer. And I am telling you now, I don't care who it comes from. Whether it's advice from your mama, your daddy, the church, the government, if it does not hit that center core where something within you goes, yes, yes, I know that's true. I may not understand it. I know, but I know it. It reminds me of one of the founders of Inner Light, a woman named Lynette. And Lynette used to go to the religious science church where I first started at when I came to Santa Cruz. And she talks about that first night that she came on a Wednesday night. She looked at me and she said, I didn't understand a word that you were saying. She said, but I knew it was the truth. She said, and I made up my mind I was just going to keep coming back and back and back until I understood what it was that in my heart knew was true. Okay. Cognition comes later. Listen to what I'm saying. Most of us are busy trying to figure it out. Cognition comes late. You figure it out later. And part of the problem of trying to use cognition to get to truth is that we are stuck within our story. See, we live life at the level of our narrative. Your life is just whatever you say it is, literally. That's why we go to recovery programs and whatnot, is to change the narrative, to change that self-talk that we're telling ourselves. That's what we do in therapy. You can't unring the bell. We can't go back and change the facts, but our problem's not the facts. Our problem is our interpretation of the facts. Our problem is the information that we are allowing it to give us in such a way as to convince us we're not whole, or to convince us that this thing is more powerful than we are. You have to take control of your narrative. You already have it. It's just out of control. But it's not that you don't have one. It's running you. It's just on automatic response. See, because when we're not conscious, we're using our mammalian, our reptilian brain. Our brains sometimes they refer to it as like 3 brains. And that reptilian one, it's just about protection. It can't make distinguishes and nuances. So if it hears a rattle over there, you don't know if it's a bear or a bunny. And we are wired for protection. So that reptilian brain takes every threat to the nth degree, just in case. Because you don't want to act like it's a bunny if it's really a bear. So we're having to override that all the time by using more skills, by using our more advanced brains, by checking the narratives that we're saying. There are at least two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. I can't tell you how much this one just slapped me around because I was a debater. I was a debater. And debates are about sides. And debates are about winning and losing. When you argue a debate, you don't even know which side you're going to argue. You don't know before it starts if you're going to be pro or con. Flip of a coin. Listen to what I'm saying. You are equally prepared to argue either side. That sticks out with me so because I won my first debate arguing what I didn't even believe. It's true. Actually, I was in junior high with Linda then. This was before 18-year-olds got the right to vote. And the issue was, should 18-year-olds be allowed to vote? And I firmly believe, yes, that we should drop the majority age from 21 to 18. Because my feeling is that if you can go and be drafted and die in the war, you should be able to pick who's going to put you in the war. I'm just saying. But I remember that really sticking out in my mind. Wow, I even won Best Speaker. And I don't even believe it. And you know what? We're doing that all the time. You are winning debates of stuff you don't even believe. You are busy arguing about facts and lack and limitation and victimization and all this stuff that in your heart of hearts, you really don't even believe. But you have said it with such gusto and with such passion, you have convinced everybody else and yourself. I'm just saying. At least two sides to every story and then the truth. The problem is not that there are different sides. Differences don't cause conflict. There is nothing about differences that inherently have to result in conflict. It's polarization around the differences that's the conflict. Let that sink in. It's not the difference. It's the squaring off. It's the drawing the line in the sand. It's the othering. It's the oppositional energy. That's the conflict. So we spend all of our time trying to reach reading of the mind, to do a meaning of the mind around the facts. We keep trying to get the other people to see through our eyes as if seeing through our eyes is going to end the conflict when I still have all this opposing energy. The conflict is the opposing energy. I can't think of any time better in history to prove this out. It's crazy in the U.S. It's nuts. And how much the actual facts don't matter. How even if you tried to see through each other's eyes, you couldn't do it because that keeps moving around. So it's not the division of opinions about facts. Are you with me? That's not our problem. The problem is this underlying antagonistic othering energy. That's the conflict. Are you with me? And that is what's being used as our weapon of mass destruction. So as a baby boomer, we did drills about the nuclear holocaust, the atomic warfare, the nuclear warfare between the United States and Russia. And it's a shame to say it, but yes, those of you, my age, you get under the table. You get under the desk. The fallout shelters. At the fallout shelters in our basements and whatnot, just in case we had to, be locked up. The emergency broadcast drills. Beep, beep. This is only a test. If it were a real emergency, blah, blah, blah. Beep. This is not a test. Something really is going on now. But instead of it being bombs, it's just divisiveness. That is the new weapon. Divisiveness. And for all the stuff about the White House colluding with Russia, we're colluding with Russia. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't some real deep stuff that we got to deal with at the administrative level. But the polarization, the othering, the demonization, the willingness to listen, the unwillingness to listen, the oppositional energy, we're doing the bidding. We're doing the bidding. So what does that look like to choose the truth? First off, it's going to take some humility. It's going to take some humility to say, I can't see everything from my side. You may be factually correct, but that doesn't matter. You could be right and be sitting at home all by your little right self, all alone and right. You could have the right of way. It's your right. And go on and enter that intersection because it's my right. And you could be dead right. Right isn't the end all, be all, do all. And this interesting thing is that life is paradoxical. It's not either or, where there can be simultaneous truths. Opposite attracts, like attracts like. They're both true. We have to have that capacity to be able to live in the and. You say, well, how do you really know what's true? I don't know. I can't tell you, what is truth, but I can tell you its markings. Truth is inclusive. Truth leaves no one and nothing out. Truth always has a way and a place for everybody. Truth is redemptive. Not only does it not leave anybody else out, but no matter what it is that's happened or that's gone on, truth has a way of bringing it back to wholeness. Truth always points a way to a reconciliation. It always points. Now, you may not want to take it. It may mean that you got to do some forgiveness. It may mean you got to get up off something. But these are marks of truth. See, truth is transcendent. So in that inclusiveness, there's enough for your side and the other sides. And then some. See? When it's really true, there becomes a self-evidence, meaning it can't be patented. Nobody can own it. You're not the only one that has it. And it's clear enough to be seen for anybody who has eyes and desires to see it. It's pure energy. It can't be controlled. It can't be contained. It can't be tucked away and stuffed away someplace, never to be looked at again. It can't be hidden. Truth crushed to earth will rise and rise again. I can hear the old folks in my head now. The truth will be told, even if it takes a liar to tell it. And we're seeing some of that, aren't we? The truth will be told, even if it takes a liar to tell it. You can't camouflage the truth. I remember I used to think I could do that I could manipulate people with facts or the air of omission, which is just another form of a lie. It really is. Truth ain't having it. Truth is just here. Truth opens up a path. Truth opens up a way. It's like, if that's really what you want, I'm not saying that you have to stop thinking of yourself as right. I'm just saying you got to stop thinking you're the only one that's right. You got to get out of this polarization. There can only be your right, and nobody else is right. But there's something beyond all of it. So I'm going to end with an example. It's a good Father's Day example. Let's say I'm your father, and you're my 14-year-old. I've told this one. And without my permission and without my knowledge, you take the keys to my brand new car and you go joyriding drunk. And you total my brand new car. You wrong. You wrong. Okay? Now, I could stand in that forever. I could punish you and judge you and demean you and whatnot, like forever. There are at least two sides to every story. I wonder what this looks like through my 14-year-old's eyes. And maybe if I start asking myself some bigger questions like, why is my 14-year-old drunk? Why is my 14-year-old drunk? Guess what? That may just have something to do with me. I'm right. You shouldn't have taken my car. But guess what? If I stand in that rightness, I'm never going to get to the truth of the situation. And the truth of the situation is we got a problem here. We, in this family, got a problem here. Okay? But I'll never get to that if I'm standing in my side. Are you with me? So that becomes our challenge. Because when we're being so right, we don't have any responsibility to do the correcting. When we're so right, everybody else is the one that has to change. But if we're willing to rise above that to some other deeper truth, what we will find is that God makes a way out of no way. What we'll find is that no matter how bad things are, that it's still redeemable, that there's still goodness in people. We'll figure out that just because we don't agree doesn't mean we have to be estranged. Doesn't mean that we can't still love each other and embrace each other even if we don't agree. We'll never know that. We will never know the wholeness that we can experience if we keep choosing our side, which is separation. My side is a form of separation. My side versus your side. I'm not saying don't listen. But if you've ever done that, couples counseling or anything else, once you've heard each other's sides, you got to let that go. Once you've heard each other's side, there's a truth that's bigger than both of those individual ones. And that's where the healing is. It's in that place bigger than yours. So I'm going to invite you to do something, which is instead of trying to perfect so much how you can get other people to see your side, I did that. That was my job as a debater. Write the arguments, rehearse them in the mirror. I was always, and you know when I realized I got to have every fight I prepared for. I would prepare for them before they even happened. Well, they're going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and they're going to say this. My mother was a debater, too. We debated in my house for sport. I'm serious. It was a sport. But if you spent more time asking for a revelation of the truth than you did honing my version, you know your version. You don't have to spend that much time perfecting it. You already know it. And get what I'm saying? That even if you're unwilling to see their side, just start asking God for the truth. Because once that gets revealed, you'll see their side. Go there. Yes? Let's take a breath. You know what? I'm going to invite my band up. Is Kevin still here? I'm feeling a little something different today. Isaac, will you come up? This is one of my spoken word colleagues who does beautiful, Isaac, who does beautiful flowetry. And I'm just feeling that. I feel like I want some male energy up here, and I want you. And earlier today, they did a little rendition of Keep Your Head to the Sky with the choir, and y'all can sing softly underneath if you like. And this is like straight up improv, but my prayers are straight up improv. So I am honoring what I see in you as the minister that I know you are. Pray us out. Yeah, we got to get a mic.
Heavenly Father, give us our nourishment of our lives. Give our energy to fight again and to learn from our wrongs and rights. Heavenly Father, we love you. We cherish the moments that we're with you every single day, and we're always rising with you through our falls. Heavenly Father, protect us. Protect our earth, protect our mothers, protect the ways of living. Heavenly Father, let us know to keep our head to the sky, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, because we know you are alive and we are here with you and we live a part of you. Heavenly Father, protect us on our passion, our dreams, our ways of living through ups and downs. Heavenly Father, give us our voices, but you've been giving us that for a long time. So I ask, Heavenly Father, as we're blessed to be blessed and blessed to be alive. Let our heads be higher as we say, Amen.